Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us today. This is the first of what we expect will likely be two press conferences at this level, one today and one tomorrow, for the Emergency Operations Center. We've got representatives here from the city, from the county, from our fire and emergency services, from our police, from our sheriff, from PWC. I'm not leaving anybody out. So we've got representatives from each area that are going to speak. They'll come up and introduce themselves. You've got your names up there already for who's going to be speaking. The intent today is to provide a brief overview of what we're doing, where we're at, where we're heading here in the near future, what services we've got up right now, which we anticipate might close here in the next couple hours or evening in through tomorrow when the weather is supposed to hit us this afternoon. So without further ado, I'm going to start with the Vice Chair, Marshall Faircloth, who's going to go up and say some words. Be followed by Mayor Mitch Colvin, by Sheriff Ennis Wright, by Chief Gina Hawkins, by Chief Mike Hill, by Emergency Services Director Gene Booth, and then followed up by CEO for PWC, Mr. Dave Trago, and then we'll take questions at the end.
Good morning. Thank all of you for being here. We hate to keep coming to these conferences every other year. It's our third time in less than 3 years. We hope and pray this will be the easiest one and that everybody in this room can sleep in their own bed tonight. But it's better to be safe than sorry. Everybody is on duty and ready for the worst. We do not know at this point, other than the best educated guess that our experts can do, where this hurricane is going. We do know that wherever it goes, Cumberland County will experience some high winds and a lot of water. We hope that it won't be anything like we've seen the last few years, but we're ready to be prepared. And again, thank you for coming. And we've got the most important people coming up, so let me get out of the way and let them come up here. Thank you.
Good morning. Just to kind of reiterate the words of Vice Chairman Faircloth, unfortunately, we've been here before. We've gone through this, but fortunately, the silver lining to that cloud is that with each one of these situations, your local government gets better. And so we would like to commend our staffs with the city and the county. Emergency operations are fully operational. The county's operations are open. There are shelters that are open that are located at Smith Recreation Center as well as Southview High School for those who need shelter. Also, we always ask that in the event like this that you stay connected and communicate. We will continue to communicate the latest information that we have, but we ask that you would help us and stay connected by downloading the City of Fayetteville's app, by also using your smartphone to check the City of Fayetteville's website. We will continue to push out the latest information. In the event that there's a power loss, your smartphone will be very critical to keeping informed as to what's going on in our community. And so we ask that you would do that. And finally, I would say that you would stay vigilant. Certainly our hearts and prayers go out to members of our community that have already experienced this natural disaster. In Brunswick County, I understand there have been tornadoes, which is also a possibility here in our area. So we ask that you would please remain vigilant. We are expecting high winds and flash flooding, and so we'll continue to push out information as necessary. Ask if you are in an area that is typically flood prone to please be vigilant and communicate to us. We have a phone number that's provided on the screen if you need to reach us. That number is 910-678-7657. Ask that you would please share that information with all of your family and friends so that you can stay connected and we can communicate one with another. And finally, I would say I ask that you would please, as law enforcement comes, to reiterate the importance of following the direction and the instruction to keep you safe. Please use common sense. If you see roads that are blocked off, or even if they do not have barricades, if there's standing water, please do not try to cross that so that your situation worsens and you are in need of rescue. So let's use common sense and practical judgment during this time, and we'll get through this. And so again, thank you for joining us.
Good morning, I'm Sheriff Ennis Wright. Again, I'd like to echo what the chair said and the mayor said. If you know that you're living in a flood-prone area, go to the shelters. I just checked, there's 11 folks at the Southview shelter. So if you're living there and you know you need to move, get out. Because when you stay there, this is what I'm telling you, when you stay there, You put my people at risk, you put the chief's people at risk, because someone's got to come and get you when you could have got out, okay? So remember that. You put our lives in danger. So we always tell you, prepare for the worst, okay? So we're going to hope for the best here. Now, we've been through this before. So it's nothing new. Like I just told my staff the other day, this is nothing new we haven't been through. We're prepared for it. But we're always prepared for the worst. Just like the mayor said, if you see standing water, don't drive through it. Back up. If you see barriers, don't move them, because if you move that barrier, somebody else can go around it. Okay, you endanger them. So remember, prepare for the worst. If you stand in the flooded area, move out. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Chief Gina Hawkins will move these mics so you can see me. Want to let you know, first and foremost, we've been preparing for this Hurricane Dorian since last week. So as law enforcement, as the city, as the county, we've been preparing, but we need your help as a community. We have the phone number up on the board. We also have our access, the websites, Facebook pages, the alerts. The more you involve yourself as the community to keep yourself safe, the less we have to come and support. But we're already going to be there. We're already going to have issues for 911 calls. If you have a 911 issue, that's a separate issue from Hurricane Dorian. But please be prepared by being informed, being aware. We've sent out information on how to get prepared. One note to self is I was driving in and saw there are actually in the city trash containers out. Please pull them in. Pull those containers in right now, because there's no service right now today, so they'll be picked up on Saturday. So do those precautionary measures to help us keep you all safe, okay? So once again, I appreciate you, and just let us know. Keep contact with the alert, our website, and inform each other, all right? Thank you very much.
Good morning. Mike Hill, Fire Chief, City of Fayetteville. Even though we're optimistic that we're not going to see the same caliber of named storms we've seen the last 3 years, we don't want to put out a false sense of security. There's still a hurricane coming, and there will be hazards associated with it. What we're asking, that the time to prepare is coming to an end. Now it's time to shelter. If you don't have to be out over the next 36 hours, don't be. Stay home. Stay off the roads. If you see wires down, assume that they're live power lines. If you see trees are down, assume there's power lines in those trees. Just as it's been iterated earlier, if you see water, don't drive through the water. We anticipate some issues as in the past with some power outages tonight. If you're using generators at home, do not put the generators inside the homes. Don't put them inside the garages. There's a serious risk of carbon monoxide that's being put off by the generators. Also, don't wire the generators into your house. That's a job for an electrician. That's not a job for a homeowner. It presents a fire hazard, and it presents a hazard to our electrical crews working on the lines. And also with candles. If you're going to use candles for ulterior lighting, which we recommend that you not, make sure they're in a sturdy container and they're out of the reach of children and for pets.
Good morning. Gene Booth, Cumberland County Emergency Services Director. We've been operating in the Air Emergency Operations Center for 3 days. This is our second day of 24-hour operations, planning and preparing and setting into course our emergency protective measures, such as opening shelters, preparing emergency responders to meet their resource needs. We have provided several outside resources from across the state for several fire departments: Beaver Dam Fire Department, Pierce's Mill Fire Department, and Stebbin Fire Department, to help beef up their operations and their staffing through request. Also, we have some resources there to support them, such as fuel as well. As we're looking at the weather prediction, it's still kind of holding the same course as the last couple of days. We're looking at Hurricane Dorian skirting the coast of North Carolina. with 4 to 8 inches of rain for Cumberland County, especially southeast Cumberland County or eastern Cumberland County, as well as tropical storm force wind gust. I want to make sure everybody remembers those are wind gusts that they're predicting of 40 to 60 mile an hour gusts. That will definitely possibly bring down trees and cause sporadic power outages. And we also have our PWC and electrical co-op partners in contact in the EOC to help us prepare for response to those and get power back on as quickly as possible for customers. Again, I want to echo that we do have 2 shelters open. Both of those shelters are pet friendly. So now's the last couple hours for you to prepare and get to those shelters if you need to seek sheltering. The cots and bedding will be provided. Be sure to bring your medication, any games and reading material for children, something to kind of occupy their mind, and also be prepared to stay for a day or so just until this passes. I appreciate the time, and I think everyone needs to take these last couple of hours before the high winds get here to get into their place where they're going to be for the duration of the storm. Now I'll turn it over to Mr. Trago of PWC.
Good morning, Dave Trago. I'm the CEO and General Manager of Fayetteville Public Works Commission. Just like to remind our customers to be very vigilant. We are hopeful that the impacts of this storm will be less than what we experienced during Hurricane Florence, but we are prepared to react to anything that occurs as far as power outages. We have our partners of other municipalities ready to come in if we need assistance, both on a national and a state level. I would remind customers that if power goes out, due to safety reasons, we cannot have our linemen in bucket trucks until the winds get below 30 miles an hour. So if a customer does lose power overnight, I recommend that they check our website, like us on our social media, so we can provide updates of when our crews will actually be able to go out safely and start to restore power. I think what I'd like in closing here to remind everybody is that while all of us up here who have spoken today are committed to cooperating and working together, that below our level, at the staff level, we are in coordination with the city. We are in coordination with the county. We are working at the staff level to make sure that we keep all of our citizens safe during this hurricane. So you can be assured that we're all working together for the good of our citizens and our customers. Thanks.
Before we start our question and answer session, I do want to reiterate and thank all of our partners here of the fine job that they're doing as our team members and as a team, partnering within the Emergency Operations Center to take care of everyone's needs, the responders' needs, our citizens' needs. And it's been so far a very smooth operation, and we commend everybody for their partnerships. So I want to take the time for any questions and answers we can provide.
PWC back up for a second, please? Yeah, this is probably going to be more of a wind than rain event, so there's the possibility of down power lines. You don't know how long power is going to be down, but you have people who have medical equipment and require electricity. What is your advice to them at this point?
Well, we've already reached out to those customers who we have on our list as far as having special medical needs. And once we start restoring power, we obviously put them in a higher priority so we can restore power. But we have also sent out notices that those customers need to be prepared if there is an outage. Like I mentioned earlier, we can't safely get our linemen up in the air until the winds go below 30 miles an hour. So we've already reached out to those customers, and we have notices on our website. If anybody needs any information, they can call PWC or go on our website for more information.
What's the connection with Duke for those who have other electrical services other than PWC?
Well, of course, we have South River, Lumbee River, and Duke, and as was mentioned, they're all communicated through the Emergency Operations Center of the county. We have contacts with those utilities, so we can reach out to them as well as your hometown utility and hopefully get answers if the county or the city needs them.
Yeah, give us some numbers about how many clients you service in this area. And we've noticed a lot of bucket trucks in the hotels. Are they for us or for someone else?
Well, they're for various utilities. There are some from Duke that are staged in our area. They may be dispatched to Wilmington or wherever they're needed. But as far as us being ready, we have all of our mutual aid partners ready to respond as quickly as we need to.
And last question for me, we were at Fort Bragg, a lot of that stuff with FEMA for Region 4 is ready for access. Do we have direct line to them, or is that from the state?
The process for local county and municipal resources to make that request is through the State Emergency Operations Center, and if it's something they can't fulfill, then they reach back to the FEMA stop.
Can I call EWC one more time, please? With the water situation, what exactly, I know a lot of residents are under the impression of county water versus well water. What is your response to that, of how your water system will work?
Well, because of the current track of the storm and the intensity of the storm, we don't anticipate having any issues with our water system. So if you're a PWC water customer, we don't really anticipate anything at this particular point. We will push out notices if we do start to see that, but unlike Hurricane Matthew, where we had a lot of local flooding that broke some water lines, even though we do have some flash flood warnings, we're not anticipating the level of rain, which we had 15 inches during Hurricane Matthew. It's going to be less this time. So while we are prepared to react to that, our 80,000 water customers should be, at this point, we don't think that there'll be any impact on the water system.
Who makes the call for a curfew? Is that law enforcement or mayor?
Well, I know that I signed the emergency declaration, and I think that some of that is that, but we, certainly rely upon the law enforcement, Chief Hawkins, to tell us, if and when that becomes necessary. So she can speak to a little more on that.
When will that become necessary?
So as soon as any changes happen, we will call a press conference as a unified emergency process and make those decisions. But right now, regarding curfew, we've already mentioned, please stay at home if you don't have to be out on the streets. That's the most important issue. We don't see it as bad as last year, but for right now, just stay at home. Curfew yourself right now. So right now there's nothing been declared, but should it be, we will definitely call everyone back and notify everyone of that aspect.
I know we're focusing on this storm right here, but I'm looking at my Facebook feed right now. There's a lot of folks saying we still haven't recovered from the other storms. Who can address just what people are feeling right now as this one approaches? We've gone through this.
Correct. It is difficult from when we're getting storms to storms back to back year after year. The long-term recovery process is a long process. With hazard mitigation and community development block grants and all those things take time to put into place. And we're working diligently through our community development, through our planning and our emergency management operations folks to try to work with the state to facilitate those recovery processes as quick as possible.
I've got a quick question for Booth. With the declaration for a state of emergency, what else comes with that?
For this one is just the declaration of emergency, which allows Emergency Operations Center and Emergency Service and Fire Service, Rescue Service to operate into extended hours, kind of go above and beyond and ask for those extra resources for the state or federal resources if required. That's what the basic declaration allows. And then there's also opportunities to implement different additional, like if we have to do a curfew, then that would be coordinated with law enforcement, and the declaration would be amended if that were to happen. But right now, it's just a basic declaration of emergency, which allows us to beef up our response.
And what conditions make y'all actually declare that?
Anytime that we're going to have to open up our emergency operations center, increase our staffing, and also open up shelters, emergency shelters. That paves the way for the feeding of citizens in the shelters and things such as that.
Any limits to the amount of pets, and is there food at the shelters, or do people need to bring their own?
No, food is provided at the shelters, and both shelters are pet friendly.
How many? Is there a limit on? Can I have 8 dogs or 2 or what?
No, it's no limits on how many you bring. However, once we fill up the space, whatever it may be, or our capabilities of cages, then we'll make provisions for additional sheltering location for pets Typically, we do have a lot less number of pets than we do shelties in the shelter.
And going off what he said, what pets are regulated inside these shelters? Is there a certain breeds or species of pets that you guys don't allow inside these shelters?
Well, the pets, let me make sure we're clear that the pets are kept in a separate location, not directly inside of the general population shelter. They're kept in kennels in a separate location. You are able to go and visit and walk your pet as long as the weather permits. And then they're fed and taken care of when you're not able to be in contact with them. Service animals are the only animals that are allowed to be inside the shelter with you, and it has to be the true service animal.
Do you have any idea whether there will be the need for water rescues, and are you ready for that?
We are ready. We have beefed up a swiftwater rescue response with our City of Fayetteville fire partners. They do have extra teams in place, and we are prepared. We're hoping that that's not going to be necessary with only the 4 to 8 inches of rain expected, but we're prepared if it happens.
Can you say how the Matthew and Florence have helped you prepare for this?
Definitely, it's allowed us to see where our weaknesses are, where we need to provide additional rescue and fire service support during these type of events, and we can go ahead and have them here ahead of time. And really, unfortunately, we're getting too good of a practice with these type of events.
All right, I'm Sally Shutt with Cumberland County. We will have another press conference tomorrow. As Kevin mentioned, I just want to remind you to help us push out the information line phone number that's there on the screen, 678-7657. Also, Cumberland Alerts, so any of the residents who have not signed up yet, they can do that through our website. So thank you for being here. I think the chairman and the mayor have something else.
On behalf of the Cumberland County Commissioners, thank all of you for coming, and I hope when we meet again tomorrow that we all have smiles on our faces and good news to report. Thank you so much.
Certainly just echo that, and certainly would like to thank, I have my colleague from City Council here, Councilman Hare, but our city manager as well and his team. The part that we really don't see is what happens behind the scene. These folks sacrifice several hours and work long hours day and night to make sure that the community continues to run and that you're kept safe. So certainly keep them in your thoughts and prayers.